Okay, so let's say you have an app with app stuff and a tab thing. If you open the tab thing, there is, as you would expect, tab stuff. And let's say the tab stuff is actually a switch. You switch it on and close the tab thing. And now, when you go to open it again, what do you expect to see? Is the switch going to be on or off? Well, I would say that the switch would be on, because that's how it was when you left it. When you close the tab and reopen it, you expect to see the switch the same way you left it. And if you switch it off, close it, and open it again, you'd be surprised if somehow it had switched itself back on. So, my timer app is a bit more of a complicated example. When you click the start button, the timer starts, as you would expect it to. I'm just going to pause it quickly. And then I'm going to close it. And we're back to the editing screen. So when we click start again, what's going to happen? Well, there are two things that we might expect to see. In the first case, the timer is paused where we left it, because the tab just reopened. And in the second case, the timer is counting down from the start like it did last time, because, after all, the button did say start. So we need to find some way to make sure that there's only one thing that we're expecting. So let's close this again and take a closer look at the button. The real problem here is that it isn't actually a button. If we're thinking in terms of objects, then it's really just a shrunken version of the tab, although it still has the word start on it as if it were a button. And that's kind of what creates the confusion. A better option might be to instead show a smaller version of the timer that's running, kind of like in the iOS Music app. Or maybe even show an actual start button, so that when you click on it, it creates a new timer as you would expect. And closing it feels more like you are actually cancelling the timer. So yeah, those are just two ideas that I came up with while making this, but I don't know, there might even be a better one. Or even lots of better options. And my goal is to find the best option. And the best way I know how to do that is just coming up with as many ideas as I can. So that's what I'm planning on doing. And that's all the slides I've made, but I don't really feel right ending a presentation without "Thanks for watching." Okay, I'm done.
So first things first, I potentially have red eyes right now. But yeah, hopefully you enjoyed my presentation. Yeah, that was fun to make. But anyway, now I've got to actually do some sketches like I said I was going to. Um, yeah, and I've got a nice setup for that, so just wait a second while I pan the camera around. Okay, and here we are. So I hope you think it looks pretty good. You might be wondering why it's completely out of focus, and the reason is because art. So, yeah, enjoy the time lapse. Okay, so it's pretty late, but I wanted to show you what I actually ended up drawing, seeing as it was maybe just a little bit too out of focus in the time lapse. Yeah, so let's get to that. Okay, so as you can see, this is what I ended up drawing. You can see I started off with the idea of having the shaded in button and then that expanding to the shaded in background, which I really like because it separates the editing and the running screen, but still makes the running screen full screen. And yeah, I tried putting the shading the favorites button and the more button in as well, which I kind of like. I think it really ties the color, but still separates them by inverting it. Yeah, so you can see that it needs to be full screen definitely, because the timer needs to go down, and I didn't even think about that at first. But yeah, that's an important thing. I think it works on an iPad screen as well. My drawing's terrible, but it's a sketch. That's the point of it. It's supposed to be quick and get the idea across. Yeah, so there you go. That's with the recents and maybe favorites. I've still got to work out that exactly what I'm going to end up doing there. And then, yeah, I was looking at different ideas for what the button could say, maybe options, settings, menu, more. I think more is probably the best. I had a whole different lot of icons as well, but yeah. And then I've got all of these icons for the dragging, handles, because I wanted it to look like you can drag it. And none of them quite look right. I reckon that this one here is the best idea I've got, but I'm going to need to work with that on a computer to see if that actually works. And then down here I've got the idea of the buttons, when you press them, what actually happens. So when you press on the start button, that's the finger press there, it shades in slightly darker, and then when you let go of it, then it'll perform the transition animation, because you've got to have the press animation separate from the transition animation, because what if you press on it, hold, and then move off? You've got to have something to indicate that you're holding on it. And yeah, that's what I've kind of got there. And the same for the pause, it'll just kind of get a little bit more opaque, or transparent, rather, the complete opposite of what I just said. And then, yeah, turn into the resume button. And yeah, that's what I ended up doing time-lapse wise. And yeah, I think that I'm on a stronger path right now with the idea of it looking minimal, and also the idea of it making sense and not being confusing. Yeah, and preserving objects and all of that. I don't know. Yeah, anyway, so I guess that's it. I'm not going to switch the camera back around, so you can just listen to my voice for the end of the video. Yeah, okay. So I guess that's it. Okay, see you in the next video. Bye.